what's your take on the Steelers re-signing the great Trubisky train? 2 more years in Pittsburgh, baby.
Well, yeah. So three more. He was going to have a contract year this year where he was going to make $10 million.
It was a 2 year
So
extension on top of the one. So it is
yes, so it's 3 more years, 2 extra years. I assume that they cut his pay a little bit. At least I would hope, because they also brought back Mason Rudolph on a 1 year deal the week before. So I don't know if Rudolph was the insurance in case they didn't re-sign Trubisky, or
I
if
wonder if
they go ahead.
I wonder if they knew about the emergency quarterback rule getting passed because I believe in this last week they passed the rule that you can have a third running back on the quarterback on the roster who doesn't count against the roster but can only play if the first two guys are injured.
Yeah,
So,
that was actually proposed by the Lions ownership.
oh, okay. And I think
So
that
we've heard
passed.
quite a bit about that here. And that is exactly right for those of you that haven't been following. In the last week, the NFL owners approved a rule in which basically they looked at the San Francisco Philadelphia playoff game where they were in the NFC title game and they're running the Wildcat because they're out of quarterbacks. And they're like, we can't do this. So it's much more like the old rule, which went away about 8-10 years ago, where if both of your starter and your backup quarterback go down, then you can bring in a third quarterback. Yeah.
Speaking of, with the Trubisky train getting extended in Pittsburgh for we don't know how much, but he'll be there for another 3 years. I think it's interesting because, I think most Bears fans have nothing but bad things to say about him. And he was drafted. They traded up to get one spot to get him. Picks involved. I mean, I've made fun of this pick before in previous podcasts that came Fred Warner and Alvin Kamara, and we passed on, Watson and Mahomes for him. But Trubisky's an interesting case because he has all the physical tools. They're still there. And everything I've heard about him is he works hard and he is hard worker and he's a good guy to be around. I think his teammates generally like him. And I think that he could have a Geno Smith like renaissance in his 30s because his weakness was kind of between the ears where he wasn't great at picking up defenses and reading them, but if he can stick around the NFL long enough, I think he could eventually develop it just over time, just at a slower rate than some of these other guys. And I could see him being a pretty good backup quarterback for the Pittsburgh. He can come in, win a couple games now, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in 4 or 5 years as a 32-year-old leading a team into the playoffs as an injury fill in like Geno Smith did for the Seahawks last year. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not defending the pick for the Bears or anything. I'm defending the extension for the Steelers to keep him on the bench. He seems like a pretty good guy. And he also doesn't seem like he's the type of backup that would cause a lot of headaches for the starter or the coaching staff,
If you're Mitch Trubisky and you take a 2 year extension onto your contract year, it means you're comfortable being the backup.
which might be a knock against him, too, to be honest.
This is Joe Smith from the Midwest Football Podcast. Please remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It all helps us grow our show. Look for our full show, too, anywhere you find podcasts. Links below.